Welcome back. It's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Neca in the Real Toys subdivision, we are featuring the Ben Cooper Superhero Series Batman action figure with costume and mask. Alright, so many young fans out there probably have no idea what this is or why it exists, but I'll go into that in a little bit. Today is February 26, 2025, and I got this recently at my local Target. When I saw this on the shelves, I kind of freaked out because this really dates me. If you grew up during the 60s, 70s, and 80s, you might be very familiar with the old Ben Cooper costumes. So Ben Cooper was a company that produced Halloween costumes from the 1930s up until the 1980s. Essentially, the costumes that were, you got this really flimsy plastic mask, which we see right there, and kind of like this plastic like jumpsuit. It's weird, it's silly. If you look it up, if you do a Google image search, I'm sure you can find all sorts of wild costumes from back in the day. But if you were like me, if you grew up during the 80s, you know, this was the style of like Halloween costume way back when. Nowadays, when we look at these things, they're creepy, they're haunting. They almost look like a mask that like a serial killer would wear. But this I don't know, this really spoke to me. This throwback to the 80s was kind of like my love language, and I'm like, I need to add this to my collection. It's crazy. It takes me back to my youth. All right, so we have this very colorful box art, which is actually inspired from the old Ben Cooper packaging. You know, if you grew up during that time period, you'll remember that square box that we got with that kind of like plastic window, and you can see the mask and then the costume underneath it. This comes with an action figure, and then also comes with a costume and mask. The box art, we have Superman and Batman. And then on the back, here's some other figures in the assortment. The Batman. I do have the Joker. I have yet to see Batgirl or Superman or Wonder Woman. But this is how creepy they looked. If you could just imagine this being like a little child, that's what Halloween was like for me growing up. You know, back in the 1980s, you'd look down your street on a Halloween night, and you'd just see armies of kids wearing these really creepy costumes, myself included. Underneath, NECA's always cool about giving us, you know, they credit the artists and designers right there, which is really awesome. So yeah, let's check this out. I'm so excited for this. Like I said, I was a child of the 80s, and this is how we celebrated Halloween a long time ago in these crazy, scary costumes. You know, nowadays kids, you know, they grow up so spoiled. You know, you might have a parent who's like a machinist or an actual cosplayer, and they can make you a costume that's like screen accurate. Whereas in the 80s, if you were like me, this was as close as you could get to like looking like Batman. Wild looking figure, incredibly small. And let's take it out. Alright, it comes with is Halloween baggie, so when he's going door to door trick-or-treating, he has a bag for his candy. And don't eat this. That's that kind of like gel to prevent mold. And then here is the figure. It's so creepy looking. This guy stands in at about surprisingly 5 3/4 inches. And then here's a size comparison next to a Marvel Legends. I kind of feel like this figure might scale better with like a 7-inch or 8-inch scale action figure, you know, like a 1/10 scale line. Here it is next to McFarlane Batman. This seems very appropriate, you know, in terms of scale. And it's wild. It has that creepy Ben Cooper costume mask. My only concern is that the material of the costume, it feels like it's made of that kind of like fabric that will probably disintegrate after like 20 years. And then here's his cloth cape. I guess the costume is removable, and I am not going to take it off because I have a feeling it'd be impossible to put back on. And then there's the shoes, really well detailed. And does the mask come off? The mask feels like it's permanently affixed to the figure. If it comes off, I'm not going to force it, but yeah, it doesn't feel like... I don't know. I might have to watch another review to see if the mask comes off or not, but it's creepy. It's very interesting. It really brings me back to my childhood. The head does move. There is articulation, as do the arms. It feels a little bit tight though underneath the material. I don't want to add any further wrinkles onto this, so I don't want to get too crazy with the articulation. But yeah, I just wanted to share this with you. If you were like me and if you grew up during this time period, this is probably, you know, your Halloween childhood in a nutshell. And I kind of have a feeling at some point in time, this style of costumes can become fashionable again, in like an ironic sense. You know, it's very serial killer-like, but it's neat, and I'm pretty jazzed on this. I do want to get the other figures. So yeah, wild callback to my youth. Alright, so with that being said, let's wrap this one up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. Alright, later.